By the thought, and I kept reading it and trying, and then I would like avoid it. So then I avoided it all week until last night, and I read it and I still didn't get it. It wasn't clicking. So I thought, forget it. I'm just going to pass that little section and move on to the rest, which I did. So
are you talking about in the box?
Nope. At the very section where you try to identify, let me pull the book out. Hang on. Where your, let's see.
You've jumped way ahead, but I want to identify what you're talking about.
I haven't jumped way ahead. It's like the first section after we finished last week's homework.
Oh, I thought you meant the last section of what we are doing today.
No, that one I was fine doing the dreaming and all of that.
Yeah.
You're worthy.
I'm not worthy block.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, is it not?
That was I still can't, like, I can't identify the emotion or the thought or you know what I'm saying? I still am not, it's not clicking right now.
Is it not clicking because I'm going to clarify because I'm certain that you're not alone, right? So is it not clicking because you don't understand the way she's saying it, how it relates to you, or is it not clicking like you don't feel like it relates to you at all? Like is what's happening like you're reading it and it just doesn't make sense at all? So that
yeah.
Okay, so we need to make sure we kind of clarify and dig into what that really looks like so that then you could possibly identify it in you.
Yeah, so I mean there were things that I recognized, like the when she was talking about the people you love leave you kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't that. Mine was more of a people don't like me, I never have friends.
Which is a for sure unworthy.
Yeah.
But you couldn't kind of
But
understand.
I couldn't recognize that in other areas. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what
You don't see how that feeling is affecting everything else in your life.
Yeah, like finances
right?
And everything like that.
You don't understand how it's all connected together.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm going to help you. Shocking, right? Are you shocked?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Anybody else? Unmute yourself. Let's talk about how you felt about homework, or just what Debbie did. We just talked about kind of what didn't make sense to her, where it made sense, but where it didn't, because that will help me as I go through my notes to make sure I cover what we need to cover for you. Who else has got something? Erin, did you have something?
I do. I'm the exact same boat as her. The dreaming was not a problem whatsoever, but the I'm not worthy block, I'm kind of like her. I've read it, I feel like a million times, but I'm stuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was I. I feel like when I only did future boards. Now it makes a lot more sense to me because I've gone through the whole coaching process. When I only did future boards, to me, the money block homework like changed so much for me, but I didn't, like when I look back at my homework that I did during future boards of I'm not worthy, I didn't write a ton, which means because you guys know I'm a writer, it means that I didn't get it. Like I'm with you 100%. What else? Somebody else have anything?
I just have to say you're going to be proud of me because what was it, like 2 or 3 months ago, you told me to do my list of 20 and I came up with 9. and I could not think of anything else. I was like, that's it. I've got 9. That's all I have. And I just sat down maybe a half hour ago and I wrote my 20 out, and there's 20 of them. And
20 what?
my 20 dreams.
Oh,
And I used my same 9, but they're even bigger this time than they were 2 months ago.
It's crazy how your brain starts to work, right?
Yes. I was like, Christy's going to be very proud of me that
I
I can
am.
do this time.
And I'm going to talk for Jessica. She can talk for herself, but she unmuted herself, but we still only have her name up. But Jessica, didn't you say, because Jessica is my friend that did future boards with me with Sarah when the book first came out, but I think she didn't finish the whole process, so she decided to do this with me. And she mentioned to me when she looked back over the last time's list she had made, a lot of those things had started to already were already in motion. Is that right, Jessica?
Yes. And I hadn't finished my dreams. So I was up to write the last 2 pages of homework for this week. Those were the 2 pages I hadn't reached previously.
Okay.
So I had to do those.
Okay.
And so that's where I stopped. But I'm the same, my wishes versus I don't know this, I'm on the bike so I can't look at it, but
That's okay.
it went from owning a pied-à-terre in Tribeca to a full-on loft, meaning a full floor.
Okay. So
yeah,
your mind, your
Yeah.
mind expanded as to what it was was open to, right?
Correct. Yes.
And that's big, you guys. That's really big, because that goes back to at the very end when she's talking about us being stuck in our box. Even if our box has wiggle room because we're dreamers, it still is walls and boundaries. And when we blow that up, all of a sudden there's no more, you're not trying to just own however you pronounce the word that Jessica said. She's not trying to own a pirouette, but it sounds, what did you first write?
A pied-à-terre. So it's a little alcove studio type, small, just room for a bed. And now I'm a full floor.
Yeah, now you're $1 million listing. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's huge. Okay. Other thoughts on homework and what we read before we dig in?
The low Key Martyr was really hard for me to read because it's totally me.
It's totally you. It's a whole lot Debbie also. I don't know how it can't be when you have 10 kids, but it is. It's a lot of us. Both of these. So here's the thing.
So I was going to share.
Yeah. Oh,
that.
sorry. You were frozen.
Sorry.
You're good.
I know, because I'm in and out. So I was going to share that. You guys are cracking me up because I have long identified that I have a not worthy issue. And so that part was really easy for me.
I've been talking to you about that for 3 years.
Right. So I had that all set up. But coming up with dreams, I'm I got 3. And then I really kind of read through them again. I'm okay, I could probably come up with a few more. But I don't know.
Well, you've always been my thinker.
Yeah. And I think it's funny to hear you guys all say that you couldn't do the worthy, but you guys, sure, I can come up with all dreams and they're bigger than anything. And I'm
Tiffany's my researcher. Tiffany's my researcher and my thinker. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tiffany actually did some research on fun dreams or great trips or cool things to do in order to complete her list. Did you?
Not for this list, but I have before. I'm oh, what does it take to get to Disney World? Oh, what do I have to do for this?
Yep, you researched it. Okay, so I love that we have so many different perspectives and thoughts on this because that's going to help us dig deep and go into this. So, of course, last week we talked about our money blocks and our money issues, and I was so excited for those of you that shared like Tiffany Adams, you know, who called to pay bills and then there weren't any. And Marquet called to pay a bill and it was like way less than it would have. And here's the thing is it's not that, and it can happen. I had things happen literally by week 2 of working with Sarah, of things really changing and happening and manifesting for me. But I do want to give this like side note. It's not that Tiffany Adams is 500 times faster and better at manifesting. I gave Tiffany Adams homework 2 months ago on this. So these first few steps, right after I did these first few steps, I got on a call with Tiffany and I said, do these things. But then I said, when you're done with your list, let's talk again and move forward. But she just admitted she never finished her list, which means all she ever did was the first homework. So the homework you guys did last week has been manifesting with Tiffany because she's actually been working on it for a couple months. I say that to say, be patient. Don't look at Tiffany and go, well, it didn't work for me. I didn't get any free stuff this week. It's been in Tiffany's mind for longer. So,
I'm pretty
right.
sure it was July.
Was it July? That's when I did this. Look, my homework on this I'm Not Worthy block was July 24th.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in July.
So it was in July when we talked. So So Tiffany's been stewing over this. This wasn't an Instapot situation for Tiffany. This was Crackpot. It's been brewing for a hot, long minute. All right. I'm not worthy. So let me try to, and interrupt me if I'm not making sense, because I don't want to leave this still unclear with you about what this looks like. And I also don't want to just reiterate what she said in the book, because obviously it wasn't clear enough for it to connect with you. So, so one of the easiest ways it manifests is in self-confidence. And like Debbie, you mentioned, like, you know, you have a low self-confidence when it comes to, you know, do people like you, or having friends, or things like that. And that truly is self-confidence. But self-confidence comes in so many ways. And truly, it's just this belief that you don't deserve an amazing life. Like it would be the belief of driving through a fancy neighborhood where there's beautiful homes and you can see them pulling in their, you know, 2019 big new SUVs, and they're dressed great. And you think to yourself, I don't deserve that. You know, that's theirs. That's great. I don't deserve that. Or I won't ever have that. And so it comes out in self-sabotage and fear, and it causes you to second guess yourself, and it causes you to second guess your worthiness. Words that Sarah doesn't use, but I think are very relevant in this, and my Plexus friends will be more, they will have heard this before, so I'm just going to explain it more. Imposter syndrome. You guys know about imposter syndrome. Erin, you can just nod. Have you ever heard of the imposter syndrome before? Okay, here's what the imposter syndrome is. And I'm going to give it to you in a real life scenario, because I think those are easier to understand. And also because I don't have a book written on imposter syndrome, which means I'm not going to be able to tell you like a real definition. But basically, it's as if you've been invited to a party and you walk in and you feel like everybody around is fancier than you, has more money than you, or whatever, and you're like, I shouldn't be here. Like, I don't belong here. And you doubt why you got an invitation to that party. You aren't really sure why you're there, and you don't feel like you can add value to being there. You just don't accept that you deserve a seat at the table for whatever reason. But here's the thing, whoever invited you thinks you deserve a seat at that table. So imposter syndrome hit me really hard about a year and a half ago. So again, my Plexus team knows this, but I hit an extremely, for those not on our team, I hit an extremely high rank in the Plexus company, and a rank that we all work hard for, and a rank that up until not too long ago, I imagined it's called Emerald, and it's, you know, it's a pretty huge deal, especially to people that haven't hit it, to try to hit it. And it comes with lots of amazing things. But I didn't feel like I fit in. I felt like all the other Emeralds were smarter than me, had stronger teams than me, were better dressed than me, had more money than me. I truly felt like I didn't fit. I didn't earn it, like I didn't belong. At no time in the 12 months after I hit that rank did I believe truly that I was an Emerald. Did I hit the rank? I did. But you know what I did? I self-sabotaged because I didn't think I deserved the rank. So everything I had done in the 3 years prior to get there, I stopped. And it came there's a couple different things of what it looks like, but really it was my fear of judgment. Also, like of people judging me, like they're going to see me there and think she shouldn't be here. Her name tag shouldn't say Emerald. And so I stopped behaving like an Emerald. I had to behave like that. I had to train my team. I had to work hard every day. I had to make videos. I had to go live. Like, I worked really hard to get there. And once I achieved it, I backpedaled really quickly because I didn't believe I deserved to be there. That is a not worthy mindset. I feared, like I said, judgment. I feared not being good enough. All these doubts came into my head, and so I just backpedaled. And after working with Sarah, I realized I've done that my whole life. And see if you recognize this. I have a really great habit of setting super high goals that are going to take a lot of work, whether it's running a marathon or hitting Emerald or starting a new company or whatever I decide to do, like going to graduate school as a single mom. Like, everything I decide to do is typically bigger. I'm a dreamer, and I go full steam ahead. You can ask anybody who's known me a long time ago or my family, like, I don't quit until I reach it. And I work super hard and I reach it. And then this is what I do. I have never, up until now, after working with Sarah, hit this goal and then done this. I earned this. I deserve to be here. I worked my butt off for this. Now watch me. Now I'm going to go again. What happens is every time I've hit a huge goal, in the past, I would think, oh, my family is going to think that I'm trying to be fancier than I am. My family is going to think I'm a snob because now I'm earning all this money. What are my friends going to think of me because I'm traveling and they never get to travel, but Plexus is paying for me to go on these really cool trips. And here's where it came from. And I'm sharing this with you so that you can dig deep and try to figure out where yours has come from, where your self-sabotage comes from. I recognized that mine began strongly as a child. It was often said to me that you just think you're better than everybody else. You just think you're smarter than everybody else. You just try to do things better than everybody else. You make other people feel bad because they don't have what you have. And really, I worked my tail off all through childhood to achieve everything I achieved. And I always felt judged by those closest to me because they made me feel like because I was achieving things other people couldn't, which is not the case. We're not succeeding out of a pizza pie. We are succeeding out of an abundant opportunity to succeed. So just because I do great doesn't mean you're not going to get a piece of the great pie also. But that's, without realizing it, that's what was happening. So every time I did something awesome, I felt judged in my head. Nobody judged me to my face. It was a story I created in my head that people were going to look down on me or think poorly of me because I did this great thing. And I realized it's because of all that as a child, being looked down upon, or just little snipey things being said to me as I was growing up. And the first time I ever felt really loved and accepted is when I stopped living the high standards I had given myself. When I lowered my standards and I started doing activities that I had never done before because I'd had these really high standards for my own personal life, and I kind of let the standards go, and I started doing things that I had never done before, but that the people close to me and my family had done. And all of a sudden they were like, see, you're just like us. This is wonderful. And suddenly nobody called me a snob anymore. Nobody said, oh, you just think you're better than everybody else. Oh, you know, you're looking down on us because we do this and you don't do it. That stopped happening when I lowered my standards and just started living like everybody else. And so that's where I became comfortable, was with no judgment and nobody saying anything. And once I realized that, and that's the voice that was in my head always, and I was able to get rid of it, it changed everything. So this voice that has been in my head for 46 years, kind of always dragging me down, like cheering me on. But then when I do something great, there was always does that make sense? Kind of a negativity to it of, who do you think you are? Like, really, who do you think you are? And I changed the voice. And it hasn't been easy, but I sat down and I said, okay, who is my biggest cheerleader? Who, no matter what I do, says, you've got this. You can do this. Like you do it, and you do it big. And who would celebrate every single one of my wins unconditionally, no matter what? And if I thought about doubting myself, they'd go, no. Who do you think you are? You are amazing. You are worthy. You are awesome. I'm sorry you're having a bad day, but put your big girl pants on and go do this, because you can do this. And there's a person who's been like that my entire life. And when I said, that's who I choose to listen to, honestly, every time a negative voice pops into my head, I go, I'm not having that anymore. And I say to this person, I call their name and go, what do you think? What do you think? And immediately I can hear her voice. So I had to stop the thoughts, and that's what you have to do. You got to stop the thoughts of not being worthy, of thinking that people don't like you as much, or thinking you don't deserve, same thing as, I'm trying to train for this half marathon, but I don't know if my brain can handle it, blah, blah, blah. So last week I did, and I had told myself, when you finish 8 miles, because I've trained for enough half marathons before my injury, I know that once, like when I trained other people, I would always tell them, if you can go 8 miles, you can go 13. So I had told myself, if you can go 8 miles without having any issues with your brain, you get to sign up for a half marathon. Well, last Friday, I've been sticking with my training, and I went 8 miles, but I walked most of it because my foot hurt really, really, really bad. And but I finished the 8 miles. And when I stopped, and during it, the thought that kept coming into my head was, but you're walking. It doesn't count. You're walking. You're not jogging it. It doesn't count. And I'd go, whoa, it does. It does too count. There's a lot of people that would really like to be able to walk 8 miles that can't. It counts. And I'd go another mile and be like, just quit. This doesn't count. You're walking. Just stop. You've done 6 miles. It's fine. Your foot hurts. You're only walking. It doesn't count. And I'd be like, whoa, that doesn't serve me. And I finished 8 miles and I walked it. And I was like, I have run half marathons faster than I walked this 8 miles. And you know what that is? Telling myself I'm not worthy of this half marathon. You know what? I did 8 miles. I don't care if I crawled 8 miles. You know what I used to tell people that I would train for marathons and half marathons? It doesn't matter if you crawl across the finish line. A finish line is a finish line. Unless you're training for the Olympics, it doesn't matter what time you finish. It only matters that you finish. So still, even after 6 months of working, 5 months of working with Sarah, last week still my I'm not worthy tried to pop in to my exercise. But you know what? No. 8 miles is 8 miles. I deserve to sign up for the half marathon and keep training. And if I walk the whole 13, I still get a medal. It may be my worst half marathon time ever. My goal that I set in 2019 is that I would do a half marathon again. Actually, I said it in 2019 because it's in January, and I walked down the sidewalk and I watched the half marathon and I watched the marathoners, and I said to my husband, do you think I could do one again? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, I want to try. And he said, okay. Are you going to run or walk? And I said, I want to run, but I just want to do it. And you know what? Now I'm like, I want to run, but I might walk. And I set that goal for myself. And as many times as I've heard that I can't do it or I don't deserve to do it, that's all I'm not worthy mindset. I'm not playing that game. I'm freaking signing up for a half marathon. And if somebody in the last 2 miles has to put me on their back and haul me across, I will cross. And I'm not going to apologize for being slow. And I'm not going to apologize if it's just me and the ambulance finishing the race. I'm not. I'm going to do it. So tell me, does that help you with I'm not worthy mindset? Does that make more sense in how it applies to everything? Or is there still some confusion? Debbie? Erin?
This is Jessica.
Yeah.
Sorry if I sound out of breath, but
No, you're good. keep riding that bike.
I think the point that you made very clear is that it's like a muscle and you have to keep exercising that mindset away. Like you can't just be like, oh, I did this today and I'm good. Like every minute of every day, you might be fighting those thoughts. And you need somebody to hold you accountable for not going there.
Yes. Yeah, no. And that's the thing is when she talks about removing the unworthy thoughts, it's a process. It is a process, and you have to stay diligently on it. I love what Jessica said. It's like a muscle. You got to keep working it. I mean, it's been a hot minute since Sarah helped me recognize this voice, and I've been saying, I'm not listening to you, and asking the other voice to come in and tell me what they think. And still, it pops up. The key is it's less and less. I recognize it quicker, because that's the other thing too, is recognizing, because you've probably been feeling like this your whole life in some areas, right? Like this is deep rooted in you. So, I mean, heck, mine went back to early childhood is when mine began. And it's not easy to get rid of, but if you practice, because that's the thing, you got to stop it, but you have to replace it. So did you notice every time I said, nope, I'm not hearing that, I said, what do you think? I am replacing the negative thought with a positive. You can't just stop it, because your brain is going to have thoughts, right? So you can't just stop this thought and have empty space. It doesn't work like that. You got to put in the positive thoughts. And so is that helpful? Are we good? Questions? Debbie?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute.
No.
So you have that friend whose voice you turn to. What are other options?
If you don't have that person in your life,
Mm-hmm.
God.
Okay.
I just went really deep, but do you have a better cheerleader than Jesus Christ?
Yeah. No.
You don't. And he's with you all the time. And just so everybody knows, I can say that to Debbie because we're of the same faith and I know where she's coming from. I wouldn't just throw that at anybody. I'm not throwing that at my husband, in case you wondered. I'm throwing that at Debbie because we are of the same faith. And I can say to her, your biggest cheerleader in life is our Heavenly Father. And he put these dreams in you, and he absolutely will help you reach every single one of them. Hear his voice. Okay? It's going to take practice. It's going to take practice. But, just like I say, hey, Aunt Mary, what do you think? I want you to say, hey, Jesus, this thought, it's not serving me. What do you think? How do we really feel about it? And listen, because he is your biggest fan. All right? Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Okay. Any other questions? That was a really good question, Debbie. It was a super good question. Because if I didn't have my Aunt Mary, I don't know who I would have listened to. There's nobody else. Rob tries, but you have all except for Aaron met Rob. He tries. He is doing his darndest, but he is my biggest cheerleader, but he's not the best. You guys know what I'm saying.
They're thinkers, so it's the reality.
Yes.
They're in the reality.
Realism.
Yeah.
My reality is I'm about to have everything on this future wall in the next 20 years. Okay. You guys ready for low-key martyr mindset? This one didn't make any sense to me at all. Well, it did. It did a little, but here's what about low-key martyr. Sarah mentions, she had mentioned that if you are struggling with dreaming big, if you're struggling in different blocks or whatever, you're probably stuck here and you just have no clue that you're stuck there. So it often comes from strong religions, from a strong religious background. I say that being a part of a very strong black and white religion. It comes from, it's a very defensive block. It's a protective one. So here's what low-key martyr looks like. Debbie, I'm giving you $1 million. You can do whatever you want with it. What's the first few things that pop in your mind?
Besides getting out of debt, that type of thing, but it would be doing things for or my kids.
Low-key martyr.
Yeah.
We moms are the worst, but also the reason I mention like strong especially, really strong religious beliefs, are because we're taught to serve. We're taught to do good for others. We're taught to give to others. We're taught to make other people's lives easier. We're not taught really to make our life amazing. We're not taught to like live our dream life and go do amazing things. We're taught that we can have some stuff and that's good and take care of our own, and then look around and see who you can take care of. Serve, 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 serve some more. And there's just kind of a, even if we've created ourselves, there's kind of a stigma around us wanting this grand life. Like, is it fair for me to have this amazing, grand, wonderful life when there are 10,000 homeless people on the street? And there's some different justification, and that's a big picture. But I the reason I asked Debbie that question, because I know her so well that I knew immediately all of her money would go to her family or friends of her family that needed help. That's what she would do with the money. Because, hey, hush. So you can call, sorry. So you can call who? Isaac. You can call Isaac. He's probably in class now. Sorry about that. So here's the other thing is you get a little defensive about your dreams. Well, I'm going to do that, but I need to do this for them. If you believe having ginormous dreams makes you a little bit selfish, this is your mindset. Low-key martyr mindset. And it's disguised in being a wonderful person. A wonderful, great, giving person is how this is disguised. Am I right? Debbie, I know you unmuted.
No, it's okay. I was maybe, but I was waiting for you to finish your thing. So keep going. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
So here's what. I am not going to give up my faith because it wants me to serve and help others. But I can tweak my life so that tweak my box, right? Because at the end, that sounded a little weird, but at the end, blowing up the box. My box had room for me doing some good because I had a pretty big box. Some people have tiny boxes, but my box had room for me to do some cool stuff, but it had lots of room also for me to serve others. So before I ever did future boards, I had my little vision board up on the wall, and it was all about things that I wanted to do for my kids and Rob. And it had one or two things that I wanted, but it really was all about them and what they wanted. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. So here's the problem. The problem is not serving others. The problem is not helping others. Here's where the problem comes in. Low-key martyrs get really bitter. They get bitter because they work really hard and do things for other people. And here's what, right? Like in the Bible, it says, like, do good things for others, and teachings, and John Maxwell, and everybody says, like, do great things for others without expecting them to do anything in return. Don't do it so that they'll do something nice for you. Do it because you love them so much. Do it because you have a great heart. Do it because all the reasons. But don't ever do nice things for people so that they do something nice in return for you, right? Like, how many times have we all heard that? I don't know, I've heard it 500 million times in my life. But what happens when you keep doing things for other people and nobody does anything for you and you're not doing anything for yourself? You get a little salty. Am I right? Like, you get a little, you don't mean to, because the Bible says, like, you're going to be filled up. You're going to be filled to overjoy if you overjoy and happiness if you do great things for other people. But if you're not doing things for yourself, if you're not dreaming big for yourself, you're gonna get bitter. And let me just tell you, wanting everything does not make you selfish. It doesn't make you a bad person. Also, wanting a lot more does not make you ungrateful for what you do have. You can still, I am so grateful for everything I have, even though I look to my right and I look at all these things I still want. That doesn't make me a selfish person. Thoughts? Questions? Is this hit home with anybody? Because I feel like
Oh, yeah.
most everybody, and it's hard, right? This is also going to take a lot of checking yourself, and we're going to work through it. This is not going to come overnight. You're not going to all of a sudden be like, I deserve all of my dreams. Life is going to be huge and big and bold, and I'm going to have everything I want. Here's what, saying to yourself, I am amazing and successful, and I am the best whatever there is out there. That doesn't mean I don't think other people are good. It's just me telling myself, you're amazing. You are worthy. Like, I am worthy to stand on stage with every other emerald that is up there. I am worthy. I didn't accidentally get emerald. They didn't pull names out of a hat and they drew mine. I worked my butt off to get there. So, you know what else? It doesn't mean that other people who aren't emerald are less than me. Just because I worked super hard to get there when I got there, doesn't mean that anybody else is less than me. It just means I got there first. That's a big old stage. Come on, all of you, come on with me. Just because you want it like crazy doesn't make you a bad person. Whatever your dream is, that's great. And Debbie and Tiffany were at a leaders retreat with me in San Diego a month ago. And a leader of our company, Jessica Heffley, came up, and did I say this in the money block? I'm going to say it again. If you have a lot of money and a lot of things, and if you've had great success, you are better able to change the world for good. The more successful you are, the bigger platform you have, and the greater opportunity you have to do good. You just do. But if you're playing small and you're afraid to hurt people's feelings, or you're afraid to say, you know what? I want a super fancy race car. If you're afraid to say that, just don't be afraid. Because the only reason, you're not afraid to have a super fancy race car, you're afraid of what people are going to think of you. Oh, who's Tiffany Adams think she is? She got that fancy new Lexus driving all around town. Who does she think she is? You know what? She thinks she worked her tail off to get that free Plexus Lexus. And by God, she's going to drive it around with pride, and she is going to be bold and happy. And you know what else she's proven? She is proving that any other stay-at-home mom out there that wants to work her butt off can have the same thing. Whatever it is. I'm speaking in Plexus terms, but Erin, you're a nurse. Jessica's a real estate agent. Jessica follows some of the most amazing real estate agents in her company. She's not jealous of them. They are proving to her what is possible. And when you do amazing things, God, the world opens up to you, and you will touch so many more people for good. But not if you're playing small, and not if you're playing low-key martyr, and not letting everybody know how awesome you are and what you have to offer. All right, thoughts? That was a lot. I did a lot.
Tiffany.
So my parents growing up, I'm like you, Christy, like I always want to be the best at everything. Like I just do. That's just in me. My parents used to always say, well, there's always going to be someone better than you. And no, there's not. Like, they never told me, like, go be the very best. You're the very best there is. They always told me there's always going to be someone better than you. You work hard and you do your very best, but there's always going to be somebody better than you. And I think just listening to you just brought that to my mind. Like, that's probably where so much of this comes from, is hearing that all growing up. There's always going to be someone better than you. And I used to use it as like a, no, there's not. I'm going to be the very best. You just watch. I'm going to be the very best. But somewhere along the line,
you believed them. We believe what our parents tell us, because who else? And here's the thing. They didn't tell you that because they're bad parents, and they didn't tell you that because they don't love you. They told you that because they were trying to set an expectation for you, that so that it wouldn't hurt so much. What they didn't realize is how damaging that was. That was your box. That's your box. There's a ceiling, and you believe everybody else gets to be up here, or the other people who are working hard, they're going to be better than you. And you have, it's just a shift in words. And if they had shifted their words a little bit, you wouldn't have that. Not to say you wouldn't have another block, but you're absolutely right. When you really think, well, somebody's always going to be better than you. You're always, I never have ever, since you've ever like been on my team, have I thought you would go absolutely to the top. But you in your mind, this is based on what you just said, and I may be wrong, but because in your mind you believe there's always going to be somebody better than you, you're letting those of us above you stop you. When you could go right past us, and you've seen it possible because I went past the people above me. You have everything in you to go past above me and above Deanna and above Debbie. You can pass all of us, and we will cheer you on every step of the way, because we'll get there with you. But who cares if you beat us there? We don't need to be above you. We don't need to be better than you. Other thoughts? This doesn't mean you don't give your kids great, amazing things. It just means dream for yourself. As we start to dream and we start to create your future boards, this is about you. The only person I want you to think about as we work through this process is you. And every time it pops up like, well, what about her? Don't forget them. Allow this 6 weeks to be about you. Just you. Just your dreams, not what your husband wants to go do. Not a big trip where, like I got a lot of trips with my family on my stuff, but I didn't put on there where they want to go. I'm going to drag them along where I want to go. If they're lucky, they'll want to go there also. But my locations, I didn't ask for opinions. Rob comes in, he's like, well, where's that? Where are we going? And I'll tell him, he goes, that looks cool. I didn't ask him where he wanted to go. This is not a Christy and Rob future board. This is Christy's future board. If you want to go somewhere else, make your own future board. Okay, thoughts?
So on my future board,
Go ahead, Erin.
Go, Erin.
sorry. So on my dreams, I put build my parents their dream home and my in-laws. So do I take that off right now and continue put more of mine?
Only you. You are only doing stuff for yourself. That's awfully kind of you. But
we're in the same boat, Erin.
all of us are. It's absolutely where I started. It's absolutely where I started. I'm just started this process in July, and it's almost year end. Like I said, I had, and I think it was probably up even when Tiffany came to my house. I had it framed, like in a nice frame, my vision board. It was about where my kids are going to school. It had on what car Rob wants. It was everything I was going to do for everybody. That was it. Take it off. It's not about them. You get to still love them, and you get to invite them to your amazing dream home.
I put put mine first.
But no, I want, here's the thing is, again, it's an easy way out. You stopped coming up with dreams for yourself, so you put other people's dreams on your list.
Now, see, I have make enough so that my husband retires early, but that's because I'm selfish and want him home.
Yeah,
Not, he would love it.
correct. But it's for you. So then what I would have you do is really dig deep into that and start writing about, why do you want him home? And here's the other thing, you know, what kind of stuff will you guys do? What does that look like? Where do you go? You know, mine has make enough money so that Rob has more flexibility, because I want to travel with my husband. I don't want to go these places alone. I don't. But with his current work schedule and his job, if it stayed the same, he can't travel with me. I mean, 2 weeks vacation goes by in a flash, right? And I want to go all kinds of places. I want to travel way more than 2 weeks a year. So part of my dreaming is earning enough that, because he could take time off, it would just be unpaid. Well, then if he's on unpaid vacation, well, then I'm currently not paying rent, right? So no, Debbie, that's okay. But dig deep into why you want him home, or why you want him to retire, or why you want him to go to part-time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And those reasons need to be about you. I selfishly, like you said, you selfishly want him home with you. I selfishly want to travel the world with my husband before we're like old and limping around. So that's
Travel huge on mine.
yeah. So what else? Other questions? Did that help? Tell me, because we've got a couple more minutes, but we can go and help. I just want to make sure we're good on the I'm not worthy mindset of how, Debbie, you said, I'm going to touch on this because you brought it up. You couldn't figure out how I'm not worthy affected like money, finances, career, things like that.
Yes.
It's huge. It is a huge component of that, because if you don't feel worthy of other people's friendships and other people's respect, and of being a part of whatever scenario you're in, you're never going to feel worthy to share your business with anybody around you. You're not going to feel worthy to make a crap ton of money. You're not going to feel worthy to walk into a room of millionaires and just start shaking hands and chatting. And when they say, you know, hi, I'm CEO of Bank of America, what do you do? And you go, I sell Plexus. And feel worthy to say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a
That's a huge leap.
That's a huge leap. But do you see where that I'm not worthy plays into that? Because you don't feel worthy to be in.
You don't even feel worthy to even be in the room.
Correct. And I want you to feel worthy and bold to have a conversation and be honest about what you do and who you are. But as long if you're not, but right here you're not even feeling worthy in like friendships and stuff. And I'm trying to get you, I'm talking about feeling worthy to talk to the CEO of Bank of America. So we've got a lot of work to do, but it affects everything. Because let me tell you, if you felt worthy to chat with the CEO of a company and talk about what you did, and his wife might be suffering from anxiety at home, but you felt worthy to talk to him, and then he tells his wife about what you said and makes an introduction, how huge is that for you? Is that going to affect you financially if you've got this big, well-connected woman that all of a sudden joins your team?
Yeah.
Yes. See how it's connected to money? You have to feel worthy to be around anybody, regardless of their demographic, regardless of what their bank account says, regardless of what they do for a living versus what you do for a living, because it affects everything. It will affect who you approach in your business. It will affect who you try to become friends with and who you network with. It'll affect how you carry yourself.
It'll affect who's attracted to you.
Yes, and that affects everything. And you may have a little, I'm not worthy in the business because, you know, you've done other network marketing businesses with not near as much success as you did Plexus.
Exactly.
So that's your experience, right? So you still are feeling a little unworthy of being great at network marketing because all you've known so in the past, well, for lots of other times you had failures.
Yeah.
And you've had success and you've been good, but I think you're a little fearful of trying to get even better.
Yeah.
You want to get better. You say you want to be better. You say you want these things, but your little voice in your head is, you've never done it before. What makes you think you can do it now? Right? Change the voice. Jesus Christ, do you think I can do it now? Am I ready? Am I worthy? What's he say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Change your questions. Change the person that's answering them. And read through this again and dig a little deeper and see what you get.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I said, I ended up shutting down because I was like, I just am not getting this. And she's saying I'm not going to be able to do all these other things if I don't get this. And I'm like, I don't get this.
But you get it now?
Yeah.
It's coming together?
Yeah, it's more clear.
Okay. Any other questions? Any thoughts? You guys are awesome. Thank you for being on this call with me. I'm so grateful that you're doing this. And if you need any more extra help or questions or anything, I put that Calendly link in the page so that you can sign up for 15, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, and we can chat some more. If you get stuck like that, Debbie, if you get stuck midweek on your homework, schedule a 15-minute, 30-minute thing.
Okay.
So we can work through it. All right? Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have an
you.
awesome day. Bye.
Bye.